Hi everyone, welcome to Sunday. I decided to jump on for a few minutes. This is Coach Meredith, your fitness expert here. I wanted to share some tips on off-season training. And the main reason why is because in my medical practice as a sports and orthopedic physical therapist, I work a lot with the spring sports and a lot with dancers, and also a lot with adults who are trying to get in shape for spring or summer or things coming up. So quick introduction, because we have a lot of new people here on this Facebook page. So I want to introduce myself properly in case you're not familiar. And then we'll get into those 5 tips for spring training for adults and also for youth athletes. So I think of myself as the 5 Ps. What does that mean? I am a sports and orthopedic physical therapist and practice for 15 years now. Orthopedic certified by the Board of American Physical Therapy Specialties. I am also a personal trainer. Lots of certifications there. I come from a background from the National Academy of Sports Medicine, as well as the NSCA, National Strength and Conditioning Association, CSCS, which is a strength and conditioning coach, and also from the American College of Sports Medicine as an exercise physiologist. So giving you another P there. Strong Pilates and yoga background as well. Been practicing those and teaching them for 15 years. And I'm also a performer. I perform with fitness, extreme fitness. So what is that? A lot of people have different ideas as to what that might be. Different federations have different kinds of rounds. So I do a round that's kind of like American Ninja Warrior, where you're jumping on obstacles and climbing over things. I do another round, which is my personal favorite. It is a performing round, where you get to mix dance and acting, tumbling, to show off your strength, flexibility, creativity, and depending on the federation, some other things that they judge as well there. And then you have a round that's like traditional bodybuilding. So you need to be able to perform to all of those different things in order to score well with those kinds of competitions. But I didn't get into it because of competition. I got into it for a lifestyle change, and that's a whole different topic on a different day. So those are the 5 Ps. That's my background. I hope that you appreciate that coming into this, and you can always ask some one-off questions later. But I really wanted to talk today about the top 5 tips for off-season, just because so many parents and even some athletes are asking me, my sport's going off-season, my sport just went off-season, what should I do? Should I sit on the couch? Should I take up something CrossFit-like? Should I go rowing? Should I start running? There's a lot of different things out there for you, and there's not really a right or a wrong. So I'm going to give you my top 5 tips, both as a medical provider and as an athlete myself, having just finished my off-season and transitioned into my in-season now. So first question that people like to ask is, what should we do in the first week of off-season? And I say, don't go home and sit on your couch. Let's find some other things. Me, personally, as an athlete, the first thing I do is I go find a bowl of ice cream and I chow on it. But then treat time is over, and it's time to get back to a regular lifestyle after that. That just comes from the bodybuilding background. So I like to have a little fun there. The second thing is I like to have fun for 2 to 3 weeks. I like to really engage in all the activities that maybe didn't really fit in my plan during the season or preparing for my skills. So things that I love to do that don't really fit in my regular plan are I do a lot more yoga, I do a lot more ballet, I do a lot more kickboxing, just because those things are really fun for me. And they also offer enough variety where I'm not overtraining. And we'll talk about that in just a minute here too, because overtraining can be a big issue in the off season just as much as undertraining can. And then I call it rehab season. The very first day I get back in town, I usually have an appointment with my physical therapist or my massage therapist or my chiropractor, just because some of the skills that I perform, and this happens in most sports, they get the body really out of balance, and especially if you're a competitor. So we need to say, what are those imbalances and how do I get centered again because you can feel stuff at the end of the season just starting to break. I remember last fall I got off the stage at Fitness America, and we were on the stage till 5 a.m. It was crazy. But I woke up the next morning and I went to get out of bed, and I literally just fell over. I'm like, what just happened? And I was doing a lot of inversion work, so the otoliths inside my ear got a little shaken up. Had a really bad case of vertigo. Luckily, being a physical therapist, I self-treated it for about a day and was back on my feet again. But when I got back in town, I said, there's something more other than just inversion work here. Met with one of my colleagues, and they go, did you know that you couldn't even move your neck all the way in that direction? So it's going to be really hard to get those otoliths balanced if you can't move your neck all the way through that range of motion. Gotta admit, being a performer myself, I didn't even realize that my head was literally on crooked. So got that resolved. But everybody has their own thing. So you always want to make sure that you say whatever your rehab method is or corrective exercise is, that is the time to do it. Start on day one, get an evaluation so you know what to work on. Find a friend who's a physical therapist, chiropractor, body worker, or something or other to give you that feedback. Because a lot of times you don't even know. The other day that happened to me as well. I'm in season right now. It's like, my neck is bothering me a little bit. It feels like if I turn it rapidly this way, it's going to, it's not going to be a good thing. It's not going to end well. And then my colleague said, well, it's coming from your ribs. Which I was like, oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Those muscles connect there. So she worked on my ribs and got me back into practice this weekend. So, first tip, rehab season. It's rehab season and also fun. Do the things that didn't fit into your plan and enjoy them for 2 to 3 weeks. But then we need something else. We need to be smarter, not harder, in terms of our exercise. Or, as I've seen some of my colleagues say, let's train, let's not exercise. And what they're really saying is, let's not just do movement for the purpose of moving around. More isn't really better, especially if you might have a specific goal in mind, whether it's sports performance or to look better, or to change your physique or to lose weight. Because if you're just moving around, you might be undertraining, you might be overtraining. It's really hard to tell. A lot of people say, well, you're a fitness competitor. Aren't you in the gym 3 hours a week? Or, 3 hours a day? And the answer is no. I'm there 45 minutes a day. Sometimes on the weekends I might spend up to 90 minutes on something. But it's really 45 minutes a day and an off day. And you might say, well, how in the world can you be a fitness competitor and train only 45 minutes a day when you're trying to get a physique and this performance in there and you're doing a lot of really heavy weightlifting? How does that work? And the answer is undulated periodization, which is basically a fancy word of saying, I know my goal, I have my game plan, and every one of those workouts is aligned to my goal, and it's not about working harder. It's about assessing objectively with some measurements and also subjectively, how do I feel, to make sure that my workout on that day is contributing to my goals instead of contributing to overtraining or relative energy deficiency syndrome, which is a big issue in today's athletes. We'll save that for another day. So smarter, not harder. How? How do I do that? That's tip number 3. Number 1, you need a goal. And the more specific you can be with that goal, the better success you are going to have. So, for example, a goal might be, I want my vertical jump to increase 3 inches because I know if I can jump higher, then I am going to be able to leap higher. And in my competition, leaping is an important skill. So I need to say, how am I going to align components of my program to make sure that I am improving my vertical jump and not decreasing it? So for example, if I go jump on the trampoline, is that going to increase my vertical jump? No, because there's something called a amortization phase, and it's too slow on the trampoline, so it's not going to improve my vertical jump. If I do a day where I have 10 minutes of interval uphill running, is that going to improve my power to then carry over into my vertical jump? Most likely yes, because that's a weak component for me. So I really need to know what is my goal specifically, and then I need to measure, like, where are my deficits compared to my goal? whether it's weight loss, whether it's physique transformation, whether it is sport performance. And then I need to create that really specific plan so I know 5 days a week, 6 days a week, whatever I train, I need to know going into the gym that day or working out in my home that day, what exactly do I need to accomplish? And if I'm not feeling it, I need to know how to adjust it. And then measure. So for example, heart rate variability is a really great way to do that because it tells you your total body stress and overall physiology going into it. And you can say, ooh, I'm showing up red today. I probably should not go full out, but I could still do the planned workout. I just need to cut back my load, my weight, by about 25% to make this effective. Or, this is red today, I'm not feeling it, I don't feel good. Then I need to say, okay, what else could I do instead? Maybe I am going to do yoga today instead because I know that's what my body needs. And if I just keep pushing on it and hammering on it, that's when you get the exercise and the overtraining and the relative energy deficiency syndromes. And that's when you get the fatigue and the muscle breakdown and a lot of those injuries happen. So more is not better. Do not go full out 5, 6, 7 days a week because you'll be able to sustain it for a little bit and then your body will crash. And then you go, what do I do now? And that's where a lot of my patients are. They're in the what do I do now phase. And we've got to rebuild that from the base versus if we just took our off season a little bit more like a business plan and said, these are my specific goals, this is my specific plan, these are my 5 days a week, however many days you have, these are the 45 minutes, however many minutes you have, and just break it down and say, I'm going to be targeted with my efforts, I'm going to be smart about this, instead of just moving for the sake of movement, or moving because my friend thinks that running 10 miles a day is awesome for her, but for me, running 10 miles a day, that I would break into pieces, because it's not right for my body. So really, 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 how do we train? You set that goal specifically, develop the plan each month. It changes every month based on how your body changes, and set up your ways to measure, whether that is with heart rate variability, whether that's vertical jump testing, whether it's a sports performance test. So many tests out there. We can go over that another day too. Now, competitors, for those of you that compete, especially if you're in a subjective area like dance, gymnastics, figure skating, I remember coming off the stage many, many, many times. I've been in competition now since 2006, often competing 3 to 4 times a year. Now I'm on the world stages, so in the world competitions, so really, really big competitions. And when you're a competitor, whether you're a racer, like of some kind, or whether you are a subjective, like dance competitor, it can really mess with your head. So mentality and mindset are everything. I am so lucky to be part of a team where we have mindset training every week, actually. And it's been absolutely it's a game changer. But where can you start if you don't necessarily have access to that right now? And what does it mean to say, don't let competition results mess with your head? So I always come off the stage and say, how do I feel? Like, do I feel like that was a personal PR, regardless of what the judges have to say about it? And if it wasn't a personal PR, what's the real reason? I'm not going to blame it on injury. I'm not going to blame it on the flu. If I have the flu, I'm probably not competing. I'm probably scratched. But I'm going to say, really, I need to be real with myself. So I remember I was out in Vegas at a competition and somebody said, oh, congratulations on Worlds or Universe. And I was like, okay, yeah, thanks. So thank you. Just being polite. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, what in the world are you talking about? I placed 4th. And I went back online and I discovered that they announced the results wrong and I'd actually won. But that was 6 months prior. And had I known I had won a world competition 6 months prior, would that have changed my training? And everybody asks me that. They're like, well, wouldn't you train differently? Absolutely not. I need to look at each competition as that is one person's opinion, or several people's opinion, on one moment in time, and that's that. Okay, take the feedback, take the score. You can look at the feedback and remember feedback is neither true nor false. It's a perception of a few moments in time. And then I can look at that feedback and say, okay, that feedback should be guiding me because they're right, I didn't straighten my knees there and I really need to work on straightening my knees when I leap in the air. Or I can look at it and be like, okay, that was a circumstantial factor. There was an oil slick right there in the stage. I knew if I took that leap up, it would not have landed well. And that was a decision I needed to make in the moment. But look at it and say, am I learning? Am I having fun? And in my sport, I look at it and I say, do others want to engage in health and wellness and fitness behaviors because of something I have shared today? And for me, if those things are happening, it's a win. It's a win. And that's not going to influence the way I train for my next competition. So look at your own situation and say, based off the judges' feedback, it's neither true nor false. It's one perception. What do I need to work on and how am I going to do that regardless of the outcome? Okay, remember, you can't control your outcome. You can only control your processes. So we need to focus on your processes and make sure that you're training smarter, not harder. Because if you just keep working harder to try to get those 10 out of 10 scores, a lot of times you'll find that your body will break first. So I'm trying to steer you in a better direction here. And then a lot of people ask me, what's the key for longevity in a sport? Because I've been in my sport now since 2006, often competing 3, sometimes 4 times a year. It's a hard sport to compete in because you're constantly not only asking yourself to be a better athlete all around, but you're also asking for a physique as well. And the answer is really easy, lifestyle, but in acting it is really hard. So this goes for any sport, and the off season is a great time to think about it. But say, what habits do I consistently do every single day that contribute to me reaching those goals? Whether it's athletic goals or whether it's something beyond that in your business, your home life, your school life. And just ask, what are those habits and how am I dividing my time to make sure that it is aligning towards my goals? And the off season is a great time to start. A lot of people say, I'm going to wait till in season to decide. And I'm going to encourage you to say, no, day one of off season, when you still have that, I'm so excited because I just won, or wow, I'm feeling a little underappreciated right now because I just lost and came in dead last. Use those feelings to kind of supercharge your lifestyle and your next set of goals and those daily habits, which make all the difference. The daily habits make even more difference than what you're doing in the gym. So I'm going to leave you here on this Sunday because it's really nice here where I am and I want to go out for a walk, and I bet most of you are out for a walk right now or doing something fun too. But top 5 tips for off-season training. The first one is start with your rehab season. Make sure that you're getting your body back in balance. And remember to take 2 to 3 weeks to have just fun and do activities that maybe you didn't have time for in your in-season. The second one is train smarter, not harder. It's not about exercise. It's not about going all out. It's not about working out 3 hours a day. It's about being really efficient and really targeted with the time that you do have and making sure it's goal specific to your individual needs. The third tip is, how do you do that? First, you need that specific goal. Second, you need to develop your training plan month by month, and that should start on day 1 of your off season. And 3 is you've got to measure it. I know I use heart rate variability to know my daily variation, or that fancy undulated periodization, but there are some other ways to do it as well. And you want to also be able to measure your outcomes at the end of every month. So whether it's jump performance, whether it's a body composition goal, I've heard the saying, the proof is in the pudding. And that means you're going to have to measure it to know if you're achieving it. So come up with those ways of how are you going to do that. Fourth tip is, if you are a competitor, don't let the highs and lows influence you. It is about mindset. Okay, so am I learning? Am I having fun? Are other people wanting to be more healthy, more fit, whatever that is, because of the things that we're sharing with others? And then the fifth one, the key to longevity, is your lifestyle. So look at those daily habits and say, the daily habits I am performing today are the ones that are my lifestyle. Does that align with the lifestyle that is going to lead me to my goals? So I hope these tips have shared you. Prepare for your off season. And if you have questions and thoughts in replay, definitely come back and I will answer those later. So have a great Sunday, everyone.